All right, guys. So in the previous recording session, probably you have seen that I have set up Azure AD pass-through authentication, and I did configure Azure AD Connect server and the pass-through connector on the same server. Now this is time to give a demo on how the authentication is working and also verify that the authentication is coming on-prem and user is getting authenticated against our Active Directory domain controller as opposed to Azure AD. So what you see over here is I have these 5 users which have come from on-prem, and in order to enable login, you'll have to make sure that your UPN user principal name should match to your Azure AD custom domain name. So in my case, it's cloudeasy.com, and you see that for this user, I have this name matching, but for other users, I don't have that name matching. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to log on to your domain controller and change the UPN for associated users. So if I come to my Active Directory users and computers, and from over here, if I click on user 3, I go to accounts and I change the UPN from wowazure.local, which is the current Azure AD Forest, to the UPN that I have selected for my Azure AD custom domain name. And in previous demo, I did show it how to have additional UPN listed for the users. So please do refer that video for more details. So now I have set up this user 3 configuration for to use Wow Azure, or rather, cloudeasy.com. That is my custom domain name. So when the next time sync service runs, which is in around 30 minutes, it should push out those changes to Azure AD. By this point of time, I already have a user, which is Wow Azure User 2, and that user has the same domain name, same UPN as my Azure AD custom domain name. You can see over here, and we can also see that in the portal that I have this user which has this same Wow Azure to cloudeasy.com. So now what I'm gonna do is I will open an incognito window and try to authenticate using this user. And then after authentication is successful, we will come back onto domain controller and search the security audit log and to see that the user has successfully logged on and authenticated against the Active Directory domain controller, which is sitting on-prem. So I go to portal.azure.com and I try to log in. So my user ID is wow Azure user 2 at the rate cloudeasy.com, and then I put in password. So essentially what's happening is currently, like, I have set up Azure AD pass-through. So you see that my authentication has zipped through and I got authenticated. Remember, when we set up the Azure AD Connect, we didn't synchronize any password, but still I got authenticated. So where did I get authenticated against? So if I go back to my domain controller and I come over to my security log, which you can see over here. So if, let's say, if I refresh it, and you will see that I have an authentication which has taken place for this user. So what I'll do is I will say find, and I specify my user ID, which is Wow Azure User 2, and I say find next. So what you see over here is it's around time 106 time, this time around. So I'll say cancel it, and if I click on it, you will see that Wow Azure 2 Azure, which is the domain is has been a Kerberos ticket was requested. So obviously, which requested the Kerberos ticket? This ticket was requested on behalf of the user by the Azure AD Connect server, which has pass-through authentication connector running. So basically what has happened is the user authentication from Azure AD has come back to on-prem to pass-through connector running on Azure AD Connect server. And from Azure AD Connect server, that connected to our domain controller, local domain controller over here, got authenticated and received a Kerberos ticket which ensured that the user name and password was correct and that the our Azure AD connector or the pass-through connector has communicated back to Azure AD that this user has a valid username and password, and then Azure AD has basically logged me on to the portal. So you saw thus that my authentication has come back to on-prem onto domain controller. So this is to prove the point that our authentication is not happening in the cloud against Azure AD, but it's happening on-prem onto domain controller. So this is single sign-on, and this event validates our understanding. This event validates that this is a true single sign-on, and it's the authentication is happening against the domain controller. I hope that you found this video blog useful, and I hope to continue to publish more blogs for your benefits. Please do like it, subscribe it, share it, so the more and more people can get benefit out of it. Thank you.